So, how you doing, subprime hero, my good friend Frederick? Now, let me give an introduction. Frederick is runs a very successful store, helping the customer that has challenged credit. That's why he's here. He's got one of the best reviews, does the right thing by customers, okay, has a great follow-up with his previous customers, and customers come back. So he's going to go over things that you got to look out when you go to a dealership, the do's and don'ts when you have challenge credit. Frederick, please share that with us.
Wow, that's a great subject. The first thing I would tell to any consumer out there is to one, get educated on your credit. Whether it's go online, study about it. One great tool that's free for everybody is Credit Karma. And I know that the score is not exact, but it gives you a guide. You can see what you're missing payments on, what you've missed on, so you can know what kind of ammo to have when you go into a dealership. And you don't necessarily need ammo when you go into a dealership, but it's good to at least be educated, so when someone's talking to you about your credit, you can speak back to them. As I've ran into tons of people that literally walk into a lot and they have no idea what they think that paying their electric bill every month gives them credit, so they need to be educated on that. I think a lot of people are not. So for one, they need to be educated on what real credit is, because credit isn't just a credit score anymore. Credit is what's inside there, your history, all that type of stuff. So being able to have that, know what you need to tweak and to be able to get there. That being said, another thing is that, customers also, they need to figure out what they're looking for and understand that there's a certain budget in that. So that's kind of hard to really get educated on what my payment's going to be on something that's, somebody will walk in, for example, somebody will walk in and say, hey, I want a Camaro, right? And you're like, okay, but they want to be at 350 a month and they have no money down and they're a 550 Beacon score, right? So FICO score. You're like, okay, listen. So you have to educate them, and two things happen when you do that. One, they either are just like so overwhelmed that they leave, they need to go think about it, or two, they understand and they don't settle, but they understand that the next vehicle choice is something that's not quite the Camaro to be able to be in their budget. But that's something that they need to educate themselves. That starts with credit. Then once again, understanding what car payments really are, not just random. Also, and then find the right dealership. You mentioned that, finding the right dealership. So once you know what your credit is and you know what kind of vehicle and what kind of budget you really can do, then you have to find the right store. First thing I would do is I would use social media. I think today social media is probably one of the greatest gauges to see what kind of business dealerships are doing. When you go to a dealership's website or their page or their Facebook page, for example, and there's nothing there that shows anything to do with subprime. You see nothing but people, buying vehicles, but they look like brand new vehicles, and they're talking about how great their interest rate is and stuff. That probably they don't specialize in your type of credit. So look for the dealerships that have people talking about, I was so blessed to be helped. You see these testimonials, find that store, the closest one to you, because I could assure you those people at those stores are having good experiences and they're making testimonials because of those experiences. So that means they're trying to advertise that. So obviously, and that once again, that comes with advertising. People advertise things that let you know that they have help for people with not so perfect credit. Such as, zero money down, such as, we will get anybody approved. If you're sure you've heard that before, and that's a lot of times that's the facts. People can get anybody approved these days through Credit Acceptance Corporation. That's one of the lenders out there that'll help anybody, right? That doesn't necessarily mean you could buy, but you can definitely get approved. So there's 100% approval ratings out there. And those are the type of dealerships that are looking for clients that are in the subprime market, and they cater to them. So I would prefer, if I was you as a client, for you to go to a dealership such as where I work, the Dealer for the People, where we cater and we definitely look and love helping people that are credit challenged, people who need help or upside down in their vehicles and no one else is trying to give them more for their trade. That's what we do here. And that's what you need to do as a client. You need to go out there and educate yourself, find the right dealership, use social media. It's free. And people the dealerships that are using it definitely know what they're doing. So those would be some quick tips for you.
And I'm glad you brought that up because we have a dealership. I have a dealership with a partner called Ideal Motors. We trade anything. If you have any transportation vehicle, we trade. RV, motorcycle. I mean, people have Peterbilts. We trade everything. But one of the things that we do is we have a niche market. When somebody's really upside down with a vehicle, we can get them out of the vehicle. Our subprime business is not at all that big, right? We're not that powerful in subprime, but our niche is a little bit different than yours. You do two worlds. We only do that one world. When somebody's upside down on a trade, they got to have some credit, to get them out of it. Okay. Which is a little different. And we do some credit challenge, folks, but not as much. Our model and our whole niche is that we trade anybody on anything. It don't
Hmm.
matter what it is. We have a number
Great.
on everything and a real number. I mean, we just got an RV there that's worth $250,000 that we traded a week ago, right?
Hmm.
So we actually do anything that we do. We're in the transportation business, a used car lot, but it's really in the transportation business, right? So
That's
that's
right.
what we do. What's good about you is I see a lot of dealers out here that say, get approved now, no money down, none of this. And customers that I know that reach out to me through ShopSmart says they had a terrible experience, terrible in the place.
Hmm.
They told them we'll get you approved, and then they needed a co-signer. Instead
No.
of that $1,500 down, they needed $5,000 down, and they gave them the car, and then they brought the customer back in and told them you don't qualify for the car. They signed the spot letter or whatever it is, so they take them. And terrible what they're doing to people. And
Wow.
one of the
Yeah.
things why I brought you to the show is to let my audience know the right dealership will be legit, will be upfront with you, and they'll tell you, listen, Mr. Customer, your payment is $600. And look,
Yes.
you're gonna get 3,000. Don't take a car unless you have an approval. Because
Yeah.
then they put you on the road. You've told all your friends about it, and you go back and you're crying for no reason. And there's a lot of dealerships in this market that have a used car lot that actually do that, which is the wrong thing to do to the
Hmm.
consumer. And I get a lot of emails about this process, and I don't think it's a culture process because
Yeah.
after all, a consumer is a human being, and they have a problem. That's why they're going to you. They
Absolutely.
trust you enough to tell you their problem, and then you take advantage of it. I don't like that. And in the next few weeks, I'm going to mention right here the dealers to stay away from because of this reason. I'm
And you
all
should.
about the consumer. I'm all about the consumer. I'm out there for the consumer all the time. I myself refer a ton of deals to dealerships in my local market all the time. And it's not fair what they're doing to customers and telling them, well, you don't qualify for this, and we'll get you the car. And they deliver the car, and then they try to play that game, the regular car business game. Hey, listen, that's not fair. You know, that's not right. You're dealing with a human. And one of the things with
Yeah.
Frederick, let me ask you a question. If a customer from this market reaches out to you, do you have the capability of digital retailing?
100%. I will do whatever it takes. And that's always been my mantra since I've been in the business, since I started from day one. It's whatever it takes. And I've always been fortunate to have people around me that trust me enough to allow me, when I was a salesperson on the floor, I would sell cars to people all over the country. I would reach out whichever way I could because I felt like there's people out there not being appreciated. They look outside their market because they're wherever they're buying, people are just the old school, like you're talking about, car salesman. And I hate that that's when you say car salesman, people know what that means. And that's sad because
Right.
it's not that. You have to be honest. You have to be, like you said, they're human beings, whether they're good credit or bad credit, they're human beings. So I'm going to help somebody in New York. I'm going to help somebody in Philly. I'm going to help somebody in California. I don't care if you're in Canada, but you can get me financing and a check. I'm going to send a truck up to you. I'm going to make it whatever I need to do to make it happy for the client that is looking for my help. I don't want them to go past me. Once they get me on the phone, then my job is to have them make the last phone call, right? I'm the last person that they're going to have contact with. So I'm going to do what it takes to earn that business as fast as possible.
So you have the capability of digital retail. So, Mr. Customer, when we take a break in a few minutes and we come back, we're going to put his company up here, right? What's the name of your company?
We are Tony. My website's TonySaysYes.com, but it's
Tony,
dealer. It's yeah, TonySaysYes.com is one of our websites, like one of our filters. We also have, budget car sales, Knox budget car sales. We have a few different things that we use, but not. We have two stores here within 10 miles of each other, and we both knock down tons of vehicles, and we both do really well. Lou, my partner in my podcast, personally, he actually works. He's the sales manager at the other store, and he's they're crushing the game up there too. So our stuff filters together. So TonySaysYes.com, and you'd be surprised. We have digital marketing, but you cannot see my inventory online. That would blow your mind.
wow, that's great. That's really
It generates more leads than you could imagine, my friend.
yes. So what we want to talk to you about is, so if our customers reach out to you, right? Please do the right thing by, as I know you will. And we're in a market where you can really take advantage, because the other dealerships here just want to do the wrong thing by customers. And there's the URL, TonySaysYes.com. Go on there. I highly recommend Frederick, because for quite some time, and I don't bring anybody to these shows unless I do this. I just don't. We're going to go for a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Purchasing a pre-owned vehicle is a big decision. With Warranty Chimp, model for model, option for option, you're going to get the very best price you can get on your extended warranty. But let's just say for some reason you do find a better price, which is highly unlikely, Warranty Chimp is going to match that price and give you $100 towards your warranty. You really can't go wrong. Build a better plan, choose your own deductible, and get the best price at warrantychimp.com today.
Anyway, Frederick, thanks for joining us again. And our customers, which we have plenty of with the subprime, I get a lot of leads through ShopSmart. I'm going to start referring them to you.
Oh, wow. It's an honor. I appreciate that, Richie.
And, because I know you're going to do the right thing by our customers.
And I'll take care of them. There's no doubt.
And
even if I can't help them, I always at least give them a path to purchase. And I don't know if I talked to you about this before, but each person here gets a personalized path to purchase. If I can't help them today because they don't have enough money down, or if they don't have the right credit, or they haven't been on their job long enough, or whatever the situation is, I'm going to give them something that's going to show them how to buy a car within the next 3 to 6 months. I'm going to coach them on how to do so. So nobody leaves here without something. We care for everybody. So when somebody gives me their time, their moment of, hey, this is my social security number, this is my date of birth, please help me, I'm going to give them at least that much amount of time showing them how they can buy a car, even if I can't help them at that moment, because they need to come up with more money or whatever it is. I'm going to coach them. I'm not going to leave them just like, hey, I can't help you. Thanks for coming in, or thanks for, sending me an app. I care for everybody. Everyone means everything to me. So any app you can send me, Richie, I will honor them. I promise you.
thank you so much. I'm going to announce it today on all my social media platforms, and I'm going to do a blog on it. I'm going to have my writer do a blog on it on the Richie Bello blogs, and that way I can alert the consumer. I'm also going to put it on ShopSmart on the blog network to let my consumer know that you guys will do the right thing. And today, Mr. Consumer, it's so easy today. And why is it so easy? Because you don't have to buy a car from your local dealership anymore. You can go online and purchase an automobile. I mean, Caravana does it. A lot of these companies do it. And Frederick is right on the digital retailing side. And he's a guy that I would trust with my own kids to sell a car and family. So if I trust somebody with my family and my kids to sell them a car, guess what? I'm going to tell the consumers to go there. I want the consumers to stop going into this market sometimes, because this market is kind of rough, and guys out here are not like Frederick is, and he runs a really good company. And just pay attention to those things, what he says. When they say, we'll get approved, you get approved 100%. Well, yeah, 100% approval means you got to come up with $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 down, and not on the desired vehicle that you want. And then they tell you, you can come. The other thing they say is you can refinance the car in a year and a half. That's not necessarily true, because when you go back, that car has depreciated, especially if they sold you a car that's 100 days old. That car's already depreciated, plus what you bought it, now it depreciated double. So you're automatically upside down by 4,500 or 5,000.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because everybody's low down payment. I don't want to put any money down. When they do that, you're financing your taxes, your title, your licenses. And next thing you know, you're, like you said, the moment you roll off the lot, you're 4,500, not even on a new car, on a pre-owned, you're $4,500 upside down, So that's tough to avoid, unless you educate yourself. And that's why I think it's key for people to know what their credit really is, what their payments should be, understanding what products they should buy on back end and why they're good products, and all that stuff, because all that stuff really does matter, because people don't know. I can ask 100 clients in front of me, do you know what gap insurance is? And I would tell you 70 of them won't know them. They have no idea what gap is, so you have to educate. Even when you educate, they still get confused. So you have to, go through the whole process. But, there's a lot of important stuff that customers don't know. And that's why, as a professional, it's your job to coach these people, not to push them through it, but to coach them. So when they get that experience, it's so clear and transparent that they can't help but just say yes at the end of it, because they know it's their best option. My guys here at my store, when I train them, I don't train them to be salespeople, period. I train them to be problem solvers, to solve someone's problem, that change someone's life. So when they get an opportunity, everybody that walks in my door gets treated. They get offered something to drink, a snack or something the moment they walk in. They get greeted on the phone every single time. Hey, we're having a wonderful day here at Budget. How can I help you, sir or ma'am? 100% of the time, it's always wonderful greetings. Wonderful. Thanks for being here. Would you like something to drink, something cold or warm? Would you like a snack? We have cookies and popcorn. What would you prefer? So we're always trying to give them that millionaire experience. I don't care if you've had 3 bankruptcies and, repoed twice. I'm still going to give it a shot. I still want to help you. Have you been on a job? Do you currently make money? Fantastic. How much money do you have? What are you driving now? People need help. And if you show them that compassion, I'll tell you this, even if you can't help them, but you show them compassion and empathy, they will bring you referrals. They will bring people here, even though you didn't sell them a car, but they knew, and you gave them that perk the patches, say, hey, come back in 6 months with 6 more months on the job, come up with this. But hey, listen, in the meanwhile, if you know anybody that needs a car, you bring them here. I'm going to pay you a referral for that. They bring me referrals all the time, because I'm the only guy up and down the street who's going to sit down and spend that time and explain why the situation is their situation. Because they just don't know. No one tells
That's
them.
a good point, because a lot of people walk into a dealership. The dealership can't do anything about it, but they don't help them. They don't educate them. At least with you get the education. They leave with something, with a process. Listen, come back in 6 months, and guess what? You're going to be driving if you follow my blueprint, right?
Boom. At 100%.
So that is of tremendous value, because a lot of customers don't know how to fix it. And you know what? You're dealing with basic transportation, and not only that, you're dealing with people that might be taking a bus. Here in New York, there's a lot of alternative transportation, subway, this, that. It's hard. It's hard to get in the subway, especially with coronavirus today. God forbid that subway, it's hard. And a lot of people that go on it is because they don't have an alternative, right? No. There's really no alternative for them. And there's no education explaining to that customer, listen, Mr. Jones, you could get a vehicle. All you got to do is follow this process. So that's great, And let me ask you, I get this question asked all the time, Frederick. And sometimes I know how to answer, and sometimes I don't have it. But with a professional like you here, maybe you can answer it. Bad credit. Somebody buys a car, right? They wait a year. They've paid their car like clockwork. Within that year, they might want to trade. Could they get a better interest rate and a preferred rate?
Yes. And here's what I tell everybody. That is 100% possible, but it's not just making car payments. You have to still make your credit card payments. You still have to make your mortgage payment. You still have to make your rent. You still have to make your medical bills, because those even pop up if they don't, right? So scores do get adjusted that. So as long as you maintain continual payments on time every single month with everything you do in life, which is what you're supposed to do. You know, I always tell that to people. That's what you're supposed to do, guys. Don't think that you're supposed to miss a payment here and there. No, you're not. You're supposed to, because you signed a contract. That is called being a grown up. And I will talk to people like that, and I do that with love. You know, I'm like, hey, listen, man, you can't take this lightly. This is for real. This is your future. You know, you're in your 20s or whatever. By the time you're in your 30s, if you want a house, you have to do this type of stuff. You know, you can't just hope that it's going to happen. You got to make it happen. And so you educate, and within a year, if they make 12, I never say a year. I always tell people 12 payments. 12 payments. If you make 12 payments and 12 payments report on the bureau, that makes a huge difference for any lender. You're no longer a first-time buyer in most cases. You are now established credit. All this stuff takes an effect once you make that 12th payment and it reports to the bureau. Now, there is huge chance. So I've seen people go from a 18 to 20% rate all the way down to a 4 to 5% rate, right? And that's, wow. You're talking major difference in payment, you could buy so much more vehicle. And you're paying so much less towards your interest. It's all going towards principal at that point. But yes, within a year. Now, you know, like, you know, you're saying like a year, that's the question. We're talking about negative equity again. Even if you're paying on clockwork, what's with bad credit with high interest rate, we already know most of that's going towards your interest. You probably still got the same balance that you owed at the beginning of it. So the key there is to pay extra in that first year if you plan on doing anything after a year. That or hold on to it for 2 to 3 years before you trade. It's the only other option that you have.
And, you know, there's some stores that have this program, credit repair.
Sure.
What are your thoughts behind that? I get customers asking me about credit repair all the time. I had one customer, and I don't know this. So I says, listen, I'm a car person. I'm really not a credit repair. They told me they went to Lexington Law, and should they continue with them, but they haven't seen any increase on their credit scores.
You know, that's one of those, I don't know. It's like, to me, it's like a magic show. I think that they're great. In some cases, I've seen them flip some people's credit around, you know, but they do this little work. But there's some people they're charging money for, and there's just nothing that's helping them. Because let's say they're young. When you're young, small things are on there. You don't have, like, you know, 15 years worth of stuff on your credit bureau for them to mess with and try to adjust, make it better for you. They only have the handful of years. Well, those things are usually in there and they're for real and they got evidence. So them to try to make that go away, it's very difficult. I can tell you this, what credit repair people do, you can do yourself if you educate yourself. I mentioned earlier Credit Karma. I'm no way affiliated with Credit Karma, but I do know how great Credit Karma can be to be able to view your credit and see what you're missing and where you're over advanced. It tells you on there, hey, your credit card utilization is too high. So in order for you to get your credit score to go down, pay some of your credit card down, which makes sense to you and I. You know, we understand what it's like to have good credit, and we understand because we maintain it and we do it and we pay our bills. We do everything what we're supposed to do. But some people, just like we said, they don't teach you this in school. They don't. And then you have to learn it from parents who made mistakes over and over and over, right? You know, and unless your parents were, or, you know, teaching you how to do it the right way, understanding what money really is, it's a whole different world now. So, you know, people have to adjust to that. So you got to teach them. So once you teach them, it's a lot more. So I think that credit is super important. Building it is super important. Being educated and understanding what really is credit and what's not is super important. And then you can really grow. I wish they would educate people on that in high school. Like, hey, this is a credit bureau. This is what it looks like. This is what you need to do to build it. This is what you can do to kill it, you know? So, you know.
And with your, let's say that one of my customers go to you, do you also have warranties on your vehicles?
100%. Every vehicle I have that has less than 100,000 miles comes free with whatever remaining factory warranty, or a 3-month 3,000-mile warranty that comes free. Now, I obviously have extended warranties also, but everything comes with at least 3,000 miles. This way, in case they drive off the lot, they know that there's, within the first 3,000 miles, if there's a pre-existing condition, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be taken care of. And that's, you know, obviously that's going to be covered under that warranty that I have for them. So,
you know, one of my partners came up with a great solution for not for a dealership, for a customer's warranty chimp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which you can get extended warranty right online, right? And one of my partners came up with it. I'm actually helping them out getting this kicked off. So we're doing a lot of cable ads, and we're also at this show. That's part of our break. That's part of our commercial. But I got to tell you this, consumers that don't have a warranty on a car and that car goes bad, they just go behind on their payments because they got to make a decision. Do I keep working? Do I take my car for work, or do I pay? So I'm trying to come up with a solution to help the customers, protect their credit. So I got to say this, a warranty, Mr. Jones, protects your credit, because now you go into that store of choice and you can fix the car,
Yep, I
and
agree.
that's very, very important, because we're dealing with a commodity that depreciates, and the reason it depreciates is because of the wear and tear on it. So I wanted to make sure that you offer that warranty, because I tell all my customers all the time, I got customers that have bought cars from me back when I used to sell them, and now their kids and their grandkids call me up for cars, believe it or not, right?
I mean, I think anything you can do to help customers with warranty, being able to help them not have to worry about making a payment and a repair at the same time, is beneficial for them. And I absolutely applaud that. And that's a great, great product. And that's what needs to be out there. I mean, the more you can help those people out there who can get that extra warranty in a different way, 100% needs to be going on for sure.
And let me ask you something. So if you have one of my customers, let's say Larry wants a car, right? What's the process by the time he reaches out to you and gets the car? Do you deliver the car to his house? Do you have the e-contracts? What's the process with that?
Well, it just depends on obviously the lender. So it all comes down to credit. Right. Some of my lenders allow e-contracting, some of them don't. So, you have to figure out which way he's going to end up going. So from that, first thing I would do is obviously get in touch with him by phone. I think phone is so key. Getting that voice on with voice, getting to know each other, fill each other out to see if we even have anything that he's looking for. Because if we don't, then we need to figure out, a different schedule. Like, hey, let's go find this vehicle for him. Get a concierge, as we call it, find that vehicle for him. And then once we do, we can call him back, get that all established. Say, hey, I can get this vehicle. Let's get you pre-approved. Once I get him pre-approved, at that point, we'll find out if it's an e-contract. If I can UPS him contracts. I can, whatever it takes, basically. So, the vehicle can show up. If he likes it, he can drive it and then sign it and send it off, whatever. But, we'll come together on something. There's a different situation for every character out there. You can't expect it to be exactly the same, because if you do, then you're missing out on, like a lot of dealerships, you're going to miss out on 70% of business. So you have to understand that everything's evolution. So you have to always make it different for everybody and make it cater to them based off of their best situation.
Great. Okay. So that being said, reach out to Fred. And Fred, thanks for joining us. And it's a pleasure. Hope to see you real soon. Take care.
You too, Richie. Thank you.